This is Henry and Gabriel, and today we will be doing our presentation on employability. Now, employability is a topic which is widely emphasized here at the University of Greenwich. In fact, we even have our own employability offices where students can go and visit in case they have any queries or issues relating to employment. That being said, it's such an important issue. I'm assuming we all have some prior knowledge, or we at least are vaguely familiar with the term. If that's not the case, it's fine. Hopefully our presentation today will enlighten you on that. So now, the reason the majority of us here are studying at university is for the purpose of graduating and getting a job. Now, the
Graduate job, to be specific.
graduate job, exactly. We don't want a basic job.
Yeah.
That being said, I think it's time we should introduce what employability is and actually define it. And employability is defined as a person's capability of finding employment. It includes a wide number of attributes, skills, and knowledge, also known as employability skills. Before we continue, I just want to take this opportunity to give you a brief outline of what we're going to be talking about in this presentation. So here is what we'll be discussing. Number one, the current economic climate and the state of the job market, analyzing and explaining the challenges and opportunities in the job market, what skills you will need to stand out to face certain challenges and take advantage of the opportunities in the job market, comparing different industries and sectors in terms of employment opportunities, and in conclusion, summarizing all the key points and a forecast based on previous trends. Current economic climate and the state of the job market. Britain's economy grew by 0.7% in the second quarter of 2013, according to the ONS. Now, this may not seem too bad, but we have to compare it with previous data. And what I did is compare it with before recession, so 2007. And at 2007, UK's GDP grew by 1.2%, which, as you can see, the economic growth slowed significantly. And this is quite important because a strong and vibrant economy translates into high demand for goods and services. It basically means consumers are spending more. And when consumption is high, supply will also have to be high, resulting in increased demand for workers, which is good for you and me because it means more job available, thus increasing our employability. On the other hand, economic growth, when it's sluggish, there will be weak demand, meaning less jobs in the market for us graduates. Now let's look at unemployment. Current state of unemployment was 7.7%, which translates into 2.49 million, which is pretty high if we compare it with, again, 6 years ago, just before the recession hit, which was 1.2 million. So as you can see, unemployment is almost doubled. This is represented by this curve, this graph over here, shows unemployment is on the rise as of 2013. Kind of started decreasing as of when the recession hit, it started picking up again, which will also affect our employability as graduates and as students. This second curve here shows that graduate unemployment is also on the rise. It has been declining since 2001, 2007. It's when it started picking up again, which is a lot of good news for us university students. Graduate unemployment is also high. Nearly 1 in 10 students were believed to be unemployed 6 months after graduating from UK university. This statistic doesn't only include the amount of unemployed, but people who graduate doesn't necessarily mean that they're working in their field of study. Say you study for an economics degree, doesn't mean you're working in the economic sector or the banking sector. You could perhaps be working as a teacher, so you're overqualified and underemployed, such that your skills don't match the job that you're doing, the task that you're completing. Now Henry will analyze the job market. Thank you very much.
So, it's important for graduates to analyze the job market before looking for a job. In the current job market, there is a great degree of competition. If you can see in this graph, from 2001 to 2011, the number of graduate students has been increased by 400,000 students. So like more students are graduating, and so this means that there is an increase in the competition for a particular job. The other point that in the current, like today, it is more difficult for an applicant to go through the process. He has to just put a CV and then write a cover letter, and then he has to go to some certain steps to finalize with a interview. So in order to go, for example, if we take the banking sector, like a student has to just send a CV to the employer and then write a cover letter for the company that he's applying for, and then he has to take some numerical or mathematical tests and then finish up with an interview. So it makes the application process longer and more stressful for the graduate to go through. The other thing that I want that a graduate has to take to bear in mind when he's analyzing the job market is the average salary. So from 2003 up to 2010, there has been an increase in the average salary for a graduate job. But after 2010, like the average salary has been constant, which means that the graduate has to work hard in order to get a better salary. And also, if a graduate earns more than £21,000, he also has to pay his loan, his student loan. So his standard of living will decrease if he stays like at the 29K level. So he has to work hard in order to get a increase on his salary. Also, a graduate has to see the vacancies in order to apply for a job. The vacancies have been like quite fluctuated during the years from 2003 to 2013. If you see, like from in 2003 there was a decrease by 8.3% on the number on the vacancies, but from 2004 up to 2007, before the recession, there was a increase in the number of vacancies, but then the vacancies went down again to recover in 2010 and like be positive from then on. Another thing that a graduate has to bear in mind when he is looking for a job is that what employers are looking for. So what employers are looking for is a graduate that can do the job well. They want somebody that they can trust on and can finish the tasks on time and successfully. What they also want is an easy person to work with. They don't want somebody who is rude or negative, but they want somebody who is like a positive person, not showing bad moods on his days of work. They also want somebody which is satisfied with the job he does. They want somebody who is passionate for the job, not somebody that doesn't like the job and is on the job market just for the money. They also want somebody which has a strong work ethic, which means that they want a graduate who can work like very hard and be the best at what he does. Another thing that the employers are looking for are what activities has the graduate done during his 3 years of studies and what skills has he gained from those activities. So in this slide I'm going to explain what activities are they looking for and what skills does the student get from those activities, and how will he implement on a real life situation. So what employers want from their student is extracurricular activities, such as participating in social clubs, and also participating in sports or arts. The skills that the student can gain from those ones are, for example, he creates a connection, a network between other students, and also he creates he becomes more social with other persons, which means that he can work in groups very easily, and also can be socialized with the colleagues in work, which is some skills that employers like. They also want from their graduates to have got like some academic activities, which means like taking additional courses or participating in seminars. In additional seminars, like for example in the University of Greenwich, we have like big picture seminars every Wednesday. So the skills that a graduate can gain from those activities is like they get additional information from their field of studies, and also they can implement those additional skills on a real life situation, which is like good for the job. And they're also looking for practical work experience. For example, they're looking for internships or part-time jobs. Most of the companies, such as banks and firms like Barclays, for example, have their own graduate scheme. However, like it's a bonus if you have got your internship on your CV and then look for a job on those companies. Because when you're doing an internship or having a part-time job, you're like creating, like experiencing real life situations, so it helps you do the job better. That's it.
Right, so I'll just be wrapping up the presentation now and just giving making sort of a conclusion to it. Well, first of all, the question that will apply now is, does this sort of apply to every sort of sector in the climate? I mean, the general feel that we've got throughout the presentation up until now is that things are getting worse for graduates in terms of graduate employment. But the thing is, I don't necessarily think that's the case, not for every sector, to be precise. For example, one of the drawbacks many people would say that apply now when it comes to graduate employment is competition, as was said earlier on. But if we look at one of the most competitive industries, which is medical and healthcare. So when we're talking about the health of people, this is something that is quite a saturated market. It's quite concentrated by a lot of labourers. But the thing is, if we actually look at that, you'll actually find out that they have the lowest, in the US, they actually have the lowest unemployment for graduates, 5.4% unemployment out of all the graduates who are actually in the medical field, which is a quite optimistic thing for students to actually realise now. And then we take on the other hand, another sector that's quite, I can say, empty. There aren't many people required for it, first of all, and there aren't many people in that sector, which is architecture. And they actually have in the US also the highest unemployment rate of graduates. So this straight away can clear up that idea of thinking that if there's a lot of competition, that necessarily means that there aren't so many jobs out there. What we need to realize is that the jobs that have a lot of competition also have a lot of demand for labor at the same time. There is a very high need for it. For example, when we're talking about architecture, you can have one architect, dealing with hundreds of cases at once, tens of cases at once. Whereas a doctor, he can't really divide himself as an architect would. Hence the reason why more are needed. And also our population is constantly growing, so that's something to bear in mind. That's going to actually keep multiplying in the future. Next slide, please, Henry. So, I mean, by what we've seen in the past slides, we can already come up with a sort of easy sort of projection for what will happen in 2014. As we can see, since 2007, 2008, the period of the crisis, we've been on a climb. We've been on a climb once again. But of course, I can see the most recent year that we have on this diagram, which is 2012, things did go down again. Well, just to say, in this year, 2013, we actually have the highest graduate employment since the crisis. So 2014 is an optimistic year, especially for those sectors where there is high demand for labour. So I'd say, as a student, don't be fazed by the competition that you see. Recognize that your skill is required and is needed, especially if it's a competitive industry, and go for it with all your best. That's us, and I hope we've enlightened you today. I hope we shed some light in, and also giving you a dose of optimism when it comes to applying for your graduate job. Thank you.